That is inevitable, you can't help. Coming back, so I want to look at the hydrogen and its compounds, about what we are talking. So, sir, yes. Look at this idea.
Good evening, sir.
We all agreed upon that hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, and hydrogen can be made in certain ways. And hydrogen is a light gas. If I fill it in a balloon, balloon goes up. Hydrogen is water insoluble. It is a colorless gas, odorless gas, tasteless gas. It is very less soluble in water, and it is a combustible gas, not a supporter of combustion. We have looked at the properties of hydrogen. Like, I think you noticed this idea. Which property of hydrogen is equal to that of deuterium? That is internuclear distance. All properties of deuterium, like boiling point, melting point, density, are more than that of hydrogen. We understood that hydrogen, deuterium, tritium are equal.
お前はもう死んでいる。何？
I don't know. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. I have muted you. As I don't want you to disturb me and disturb yourself. So, the preparation of dihydrogen, we have learned the method to make ultra pure hydrogen is electrolysis of barium hydroxide containing water. Yesterday, we also have learned very important issues like what is syngas, carbon monoxide plus hydrogen. Why it is called syngas? It is used in the synthesis of methanol. What do you mean by coal gasification? Reaction of coal with steam to give water gas. Why it is called blue gas? It burns with blue flame. How to remove the excess of CO that is there in water gas? By reaction with water in presence of a catalyst. What is that catalyst? Iron chromate. What happens to CO? It becomes CO2. Then how to remove CO2? By scrubbing it with our sodium arsenate solution. What do you mean by scrubbing? Shaking this gas mixture with an aqueous solution of sodium arsenate. This is what you have learned. Physical properties we have already discussed. Chemical properties. Hydrogen, very interestingly, HH bond, which is there in hydrogen, is very strong. Notice the HH bond is stronger than the CC bond in diamond. The HH bond is strongest bond amongst all single bonds. Therefore, if you give an electric arc and break hydrogen bonds between hydrogen atoms in a molecule, by giving electric arc, you can break the bonds. But when these bonds recombine, when the atoms recombine, so much heat energy is generated, around 4000 K temperature is generated. That high temperature can be used to weld the metals. You understand? Therefore, that is welding means joining two metals. Hydrogen is used in the welding torches. That is called atomic hydrogen torch. What is atomic hydrogen torch? It is a device where hydrogen molecules are broken down into atoms by electric arc. Again, these atoms are made to recombine on the surface of metal, where extraordinary heat energy is generated so that the metals melt so that you can weld it. So hydrogen has this property. What is that property? Extraordinary high bond enthalpy. Next, if you want to break the bonds between hydrogen atoms, you need to heat it at a temperature of 5000 K. Even at 5000 K, all 100% hydrogen bond, HH bonds cannot break. Only 95.5% bonds will break even at a temperature of 5000 K. Therefore, we understand that HH bond is very, very strong. 6 people are waiting. So let me admit them. Please join in time. Tomorrow onwards, I will lock the meeting after 5 minutes. Every time going back is costing me time. You understand? So, physical properties we are talking. Next. The hydrogen reacts with halogens. The order of reactivity, fluorine is most reactive, then chlorine, then bromine, then iodine. The fluorine, chlorine, bromine of 17th group are called halogens. They all react with hydrogen to give HCl, HBr, HIHF. The reaction with fluorine happens even in darkness, whereas iodine will not require very easily. To happen reaction between hydrogen and iodine, you have to heat and use a catalyst. Similarly, hydrogen bonds in oxygen, H2 plus O2 gives water. Notice, if you are putting hydrogen gas in oxygen gas, nothing happens. They keep quiet. Unless you ignite, unless you start the reaction, reaction won't proceed. It is a good idea to place hydrogen and oxygen, nothing will happen. If you put a burning splinter, then there is a problem. Hydrogen catches fire only when it is ignited. Similarly, hydrogen can react with nitrogen to give ammonia. H2 hydrogen, 3 moles of hydrogen react with 1 mole of nitrogen. You require a high temperature of roughly 400 degrees centigrade, 673 K, or high pressure. You require iron catalyst. Hydrogen, nitrogen combine to give ammonia. Sir, this ammonia is a very important fertilizer. In India, the population is 130 crores. To feed the mouths of all 130 crores people, you require a lot of crop, which is possible only by utilization of ammonia. Ammonia is also very important in the sense that it is used to make nitric acid. It is used to make explosives by terrorists. The method where 3H2 plus nitrogen is made to combine to give ammonia is called Haber process. It's a very important process in chemical industry. Similarly, hydrogen can react with metals like first group, second group, D block, etc. The metals combine with hydrogen to give compounds of formula MH2 or MH. First group metals give MH, sodium hydride NaH, rubidium hydride RBH. Second group metals combine with hydrogen to give MH2, CaH2, MgH2. These compounds of hydrogen with metals are called metal hydrides. Very, very interestingly, some metal oxides or metal ions, they react with hydrogen. The metal oxide gives metal. It means if you have iron oxide, if you want to convert iron oxide into iron, if you want to convert tungsten oxide into tungsten, WO3 tungsten oxide, when it is heated with hydrogen gives W plus 3H2. So tungsten oxide WO3 will become W when heated with hydrogen. Anybody who removes oxygen from metal oxide so that you get metal is called a reducing agent. Hydrogen is a wonderful reducing agent. It is used in the extraction of metals like tungsten, copper. Palladium ions, Pad plus 2. When it reacts with hydrogen, you get palladium metal. Palladium, copper, tungsten. These metals are obtained from their compounds when they are heated with hydrogen. When hydrogen reacts with vegetable oils, you take your groundnut oil, you take your sesame oil, heat the oil in presence of hydrogen and a nickel catalyst, you get a dalda or vanaspati. This reaction is called hardening of oil or hydrogenation of oil. Very, very important compounds are there in organic chemistry which have C double bond C. Compounds which have C double bond C are called alkenes. So many alkenes are there. When an alkene is added with carbon monoxide and hydrogen, a reaction happens in presence of a catalyst so that you get a compound that has CHO. Organic compound that has CHO is called aldehyde. In your zoology laboratory, for example, you can see the dead animals are kept in bottles with a liquid. That liquid will give bad smell. That liquid is called formaldehyde or formalin. Aldehydes are the compounds which have CHO group. There are so many. Such aldehydes can be made from compounds which have C double bond C called alkenes by reaction of water gas. Water gas means H2 and CO. This reaction of H2 and CO over alkene to get aldehyde is called hydroformylation. These aldehydes are important in many ways. Also, the aldehyde can further react with hydrogen to give a compound which has OH group. Anybody who has OH group is called alcohol. So, in organic chemistry, hydrogen is used in the synthesis of aldehydes, alcohols, and many other compounds. When chlorine reacts with hydrogen, you get HCl. When sodium reacts with hydrogen, you get sodium hydride NaH. When copper oxide reacts with hydrogen, you get copper metal. In the third reaction, when copper oxide is reacting with hydrogen, you are getting copper metal. Hydrogen is a reducing agent. When sodium is reacting with hydrogen, you get sodium hydride, that is called metal hydride. When chlorine reacts with hydrogen, you get HCl, that is a non-metal hydride. In the reaction of hydrogen and chlorine, there is a covalent bond between HCl. In the reaction of sodium and hydrogen, sodium hydride, hydrogen is H minus ion because hydrogen is taking away electron from Na. It is an ionic compound. In the reaction of copper oxide with hydrogen, hydrogen is losing electron. Therefore, in the reaction with chlorine, it is sharing electron. In the reaction with sodium, it is gaining electron. In the reaction with copper oxide, it is losing electron. So hydrogen can make bonds by sharing, by losing, by gaining electrons. Hydrogen uses, we already said, it is used in the manufacture of ammonia, used in fertilizers. It is used in the manufacture of vanaspati, as we saw. It is used in the manufacture of methanol, syngas, that is water gas or carbon monoxide hydrogen mixture. Use it to make methanol. It is also used to make hydrides. Hydrides are binary compounds of hydrogen with other elements. HCl, hydrochloric acid, is an important laboratory chemical used by the reaction of hydrogen and chlorine. Metallurgy is a science or chemistry where metals are obtained from metal oxides, metal compounds called ores. In metallurgy, metal oxides can be converted to metals on heating with hydrogen. So hydrogen is used as a reducing agent to get metals from ores. We already said atomic hydrogen torch is used for welding. Especially pure hydrogen is used as a rocket fuel, lightweight and very efficient. Finally, there are some cells called fuel cells. In a fuel cell, the chemical energy of fuel is directly converted to electric energy. Hello? Tell me. వాళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు రావు రేపు వస్తున్నారుగా వాళ్ళు బీజేపీ ఆఫీస్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి ఫ్రీగా టెస్ట్ చేయించుకోమన్నారు ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ అర్జెంట్లీ
Sir, you're muted.
Yes, sir. The hydrates are three types. The compounds where hydrogen combines with other elements are called hydrates. The hydrates can be there where hydrogen is actually gaining electrons. They are called ionic hydrides. These are made with first group metals like uh, alkali metals, lithium, sodium, potassium, or beryllium, magnesium, calcium. The second category is p block elements like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine. These p block non-metals combine with hydrogen to give covalent compounds. These are called covalent or molecular hydrates. The third category is compounds of hydrogen made by d block elements where they don't have a definite formula. If you have a compound that is not having a definite formula, it is called as non-stoichiometric hydride. So hydrates are three types. One is ionic or salt-like hydrates or saline hydrates. Two is covalent or molecular hydrates. Three is metallic or non-stoichiometric hydrates. The third category don't have a definite formula. First two categories have a definite formula. Anything that has formula, definite formula, H2O, water, ammonia, NH3, methane, CH4, anything that has a different formula is called stoichiometric compound. Anything that is not having a different formula is called non-stoichiometric compound. So, ionic hydrates. These are made by first group metals. When the metal is reacting directly with hydrogen, you get these compounds. First group metals make MH, LiH, NaH. Second group metals make MH2, BeH2, MgH2, etc. Though they are ionic hydrates, beryllium hydride, magnesium hydride have more covalent nature. Notice, a lady is a lady basically, but she can have masculine nature, some most touches like that. So these are all ionic hydrates, but lithium hydride, beryllium hydride, magnesium hydride, these three fellows have covalent nature. In fact, beryllium hydride and magnesium hydride are more covalent and polymeric in nature. What is the important idea about ionic hydrates? Ionic hydrates are crystalline solids at room temperature. If you look at covalent hydrates like H2O, HCl, they are all gases or they are materials which can become vapors easily. It means ionic hydrates are crystalline solids with high melting point, non-volatile. Covalent hydrates are gases or volatile liquids. Ionic hydrates contain plus ion, metal plus ion, H minus ion. Covalent hydrates have no ions. That is a covalent bond. Ionic hydrides react with water to give basic solutions. For example, NaH reacts with water to give NaOH and hydrogen gas. Whereas covalent hydrates like HCl, HBr, they react with water to give acidic solutions. Some covalent hydrates like ammonia, they react with water to give basic solutions. So they show different behavior. Ionic hydrates are crystalline solids with high melting point. They don't conduct current when they are solid. However, if you heat the ionic hydrate, it melts. That melt can conduct current. And hydrogen is coming at positive terminal, anode. In salt-like hydrates, very, very important. Salt-like hydrates or ionic hydrates don't conduct current in solid state. However, on heating, they become liquids. The liquid on passing current give hydrogen at positive terminal called anode. Only in ionic hydrates, hydrogen comes at anode. In the ionic hydrates, lithium hydride is very expensive. Lithium hydride can react with aluminum chloride to give what is called LiAlH4, lithium aluminum hydride. It is a very, very important compound. 1 gram of lithium aluminum hydride is 13,000 rupees. Much, much costlier than gold. 1 gram of lithium aluminum hydride, 13,000. because it is a very, very important reagent in organic chemistry. Similarly, lithium hydride reacts with B2H6 boron hydrate to give lithium borohydride, LiBH4. That is also a reducing agent in organic chemistry. So this is the note on ionic hydrates. In the ionic hydrates, lithium hydride is unreactive at moderate temperature, even with oxygen or chlorine. All others are reactive. Okay. Covalent or molecular hydrates, dihydrogen forms. Covalent or molecular hydrates are given by p block elements like carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, etc. These covalent hydrates, they have a definite formula: CH4, methane, NH3, ammonia, H2O, water, HF, hydrofluoric acid. These covalent hydrates are made by non-metals and hydrogen. There are three types. First type is the central atom in the hydride has electrons less than 8. Generally, rule is anybody where 8 electrons are there in central atom is very stable. However, if the central atom has less than 8, say 6 electrons, 4 electrons, it will not be very stable. All the molecules where central atom has less than 8 electrons is not very, very stable. It loves to beg electrons from others. Why it is begging electron? Central atom has less than 8 electrons. Why it is important to have 8 electrons? All noble gases which have 8 electrons in this central atom, in the outer level, they are very, very stable. So all atoms try to get octet of electrons by making bonds. In some hydrides, central atom has less than 8 electrons on the central atom. Therefore, they are all beggars of electrons called Lewis acids. Example, B2H6. It is an electron deficient hydride. Another example they have not given in the book, AlH3. The 13th group, boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, thallium, they make electron deficient hydrides. These hydrides beg electrons from others, hence they are called Lewis acids. Give an example for Lewis acid, B2H6, AlCl3, AlH3. Why AlH3 is called Lewis acid? Because it is a beggar of electrons. Why it begs electrons? Because the central atom is having less than 8 electrons. Why 8 electrons are important? When you have 8 electrons on the central atom, it gets stability. So electron pair acceptors or beggars of electrons are called Lewis acids. Electron pair acceptor or electron pair beggar is example B2H6AlH3. Now if you look at CH4, SiH4, 14th group hydrides, they have exactly 8 electrons on central atom. They are called electron precise hydrides. The carbon makes 4 bonds with 4 hydrogens. Carbon has 8 electrons. So the number of hydrogens is equal to number of bonds, which makes 8 electrons. Electron precise hydrides neither take the electrons from somebody nor give electrons to somebody. They are electron precise. Which group elements make them? 14th group elements. Now, if you look at the hydrides of 15th group, 16th group, 15th group nitrogen, phosphorus, they give NH3, PH3. In NH3, nitrogen is making 3 bonds with 3 hydrogens. Still, nitrogen has 1 electron pair not involved in bonding. In any molecule, if the central atom is having an electron pair not involved in bonding, that's called lone pair. Somebody who has a lone pair is called Lewis base. Ammonia is a Lewis base. They are called electron-rich hydrides. These electron-rich hydrides are made by elements of 15th group, 16th group, and 17th group. In these compounds, central atom is not making 4 bonds. It makes, say, 3 bonds, then 1 electron pair. If it makes 2 bonds, then the 2 electron pairs are left on the central atom. If it is making only 1 bond with hydrogen, like HCl, Cl will have 3 electron pairs which are not involved in bonding. So the electron-rich hydrides have lone pair of electrons on the central atom. Sometimes they may donate the lone pair of electrons to needy. They are called Lewis bases. Very, very important point. Whenever nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine are bonded to hydrogen, like in water H2O, ammonia NH3, HF hydrofluoric acid. Something very interesting happens. Hydrogen is not only making one bond with one oxygen, the hydrogen in H2O behaves strangely. Like a person loves his wife very good, but sometimes he may love the neighbor's wife to a small extent. This strange love of a person over the neighbor's wife, the neighbor's wife may love somebody else rather than her husband to a small extent. Such strange behavior happening between different molecules through H plus delta. Delta means small, H plus delta is attracted by X minus delta of other molecule. That is called hydrogen bonding. The hydrogen bonding is there only when hydrogen is locked to nitrogen, oxygen, or fluorine. So the compounds where nitrogen is bonded to hydrogen, or oxygen is bonded to hydrogen, or fluorine is bonded to hydrogen. Ammonia, water, HF. These compounds, the molecules have attractions in between the molecules through hydrogen bond. Hence, their boiling points are higher. So that is the point I wanted you to notice. The only one aspect that is left for tomorrow exam is metallic and non-stoichiometric hydrides. About these non-stoichiometric hydrides, we will be looking. These are the compounds which don't have a definite formula. These are made by lanthanides and also some D block elements. Notice this is an important point. The metals of group 7, 8, 9. 7th group means manganese, technetium, rhenium. 8th group means iron, ruthenium, osmium. 9th group means cobalt, rhodium, iridium. 7th, 8th, 9th group metals never make hydrides. From 6th group, that is chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, only chromium make hydrides. The hydrides made by D block elements except 7th, 8th, 9th groups, they don't have a different formula, and such compounds which don't have different formula are called non-stoichiometric hydrides. In these hydrides, the hydrogen atoms are not losing electrons, not gaining electrons. They are simply sitting in between the atoms of metal. The gaps between the metal atoms in a metal is called interstitial or void. Hydrogen is simply sitting in them. Hence, they are called interstitial hydrides or non-stoichiometric hydrides. And they have strange formulas like LiH 2.87, YbH 2.55, titanium H 1.5, 1.8, zirconium hydride 1.3, 1.75. Like that, they have strange, awkward formulas because their composition keeps on changing. These compounds are not following the law of definite proportion. The law of definite proportion or law of constant composition says for any compound, the ratio between atoms is fixed. If you take water, always ratio between hydrogen and oxygen atoms is 2:1. If we take ammonia, always ratio between nitrogen and hydrogen atoms is 1:3. Such compounds which follow law of definite proportion or law of constant composition are called stoichiometric compounds. Those which do not follow are called non-stoichiometric compounds. How exactly hydrogen atoms are sitting in these compounds is not known clearly. Once upon a time, they thought hydrogen atoms are sitting in between the metal atom gaps. But nowadays, they are thinking differently. The nickel, palladium, cerium, and actinium hydrides are really interstitial hydrides. Whereas, in all other hydrides of D block elements, they are not really interstitial hydrides. Palladium, platinum absorb hydrogen gas. 1 gram of platinum can absorb 500 grams of hydrogen gas. This extraordinary ability of platinum palladium to absorb hydrogen is used in the safe storage of hydrogen. It is called absorption. Hydrogen storage and storage of hydrogen as a source of hydrogen is possible using platinum palladium metals. Lastly, there is a question 9.3 I want you to read. This is the portion for next upcoming exam. You read the lesson almost by heart. What I do is I give model questions tomorrow if I am all right. Today I have throat pain and I am getting cough. So if I am all right tomorrow, well, I will discuss. Okay. Today I am going to close the class. Any doubts? You can put the message if you have doubts, or I will unmute you.
class आई थी तब
फोन लगा यार और थोड़े का फोन
There are so many students who have raised their hands. Why you raised your hand, sir? Now you can speak.
Sir, because that you had disabled chat and you didn't allow to unmute ourselves, so that's why we raised hand.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
now your doubt is clarified.
No,
So now we can talk.
yeah.
The problem is if I allow you to talk, people are making a lot of noise.